refreshed and excited for the next panel discussion. This session delve into talent management, the age of AI and automation, a theme exploring how leaders can attract, develop, and retain human talent amidst rapid technological change.
Today's fast changing world, AI and automation are not just tools, they are catalysts for complete reimagining of the workforce. Leading effectively in such an environment requires strategic foresight, a commitment to upskilling, and the ability to build a culture where human and machine collaboration thrives. Today's panel will share their insights on navigating this new landscape, harnessing technology, and driving success by empowering people.
Our esteemed panelists today are visionary leaders who are at the forefront of integrating these new technologies with their talent strategies. We look forward to hearing their insights on how they have adapted, innovated, and led with a human centric focus in the age of AI. I now request our eminent guests to take their seats on the dais. Durga Prasanna Nayak.
Ms. Ruchika Godha.
Sri Marcel Fernandez.
Ms. Manvi Pathak.
Ms. Anjali Mandotra.
Ms. Aprajita Sinha.
Professor Sumit Gupta.
Allow us to introduce our distinguished panelists for this session.
First, we have Sri Durga Prasanna, Head Human Resource at Aster DM Healthcare. A seasoned professional with nearly 2 decades of experience in education and healthcare, he partners directly with the board and top management on strategic priorities. In his 11-year journey with Aster, he has been promoted 4 times, reflecting his strong strategic impact. Sri Durga has led key initiatives in workforce planning, organizational design, rewards, culture transformation, and HR technology. An AON certified distinguished expert in talent management and total rewards, and a noted speaker at forums like SHRM, he is a trusted strategic partner driving people development and business alignment. Welcome you, sir.
Next, we have Ms. Ruchika Godha, the Chief Operating Officer at Advaya Solutions. She leads business operations, strategic execution, and brand initiatives, drawing on over 20 years of experience across technology, aviation, and engineering. Known for her focus on operational excellence, she also heads the employee effectiveness team, driving talent acquisition and performance management. Previously, she served as Advaya's Execution Director, Human Resources, shaping their people strategy since 2006. Ms. Ruchika holds a Master's in Management Science and serves as an independent director at Temsense Instruments and Udaipur Urja. A recognized thought leader on AI and HR and diversity, she also mentors through TiE Women. We welcome you, ma'am.
Next, we have Sri Marcel Fernandez, Head of Capability Building and Skill Development at Tata Motors Limited. With over 35 years of diverse experience spanning engineering, oil and gas, and automobile, he leads strategic initiatives in skilling, reskilling, and capability enhancement. Sri Marcel is instrumental in bridging critical skill gaps and driving technological adoption across functions like engineering, operations, and supply chain. An alumnus of Sardar Patel College of Engineering, he holds an MBA from Mumbai University and an executive MBA from IIM Bangalore. Passionate about shaping future-ready talent, champions workforce transformation and industry-academia collaboration. Welcome you, sir.
Now we have Ms. Manvi Pathak, Head of Learning and Organizational Development at Samsung R&D Institute, India. With over 2 decades of experience in organizational psychology and talent development, she is instrumental in driving a culture of continuous learning, innovation, and performance excellence. Ms. Manvi shapes strategic HR initiatives and builds robust learning frameworks that enhance organizational growth. Previously, a visiting professor and head of talent development, she designed impactful programs integrating psychometric assessments and leadership development. At Samsung, she continues to champion a people centric approach, fostering capability, collaboration, and innovation across the organization. We welcome you, ma'am.
Next, we have Ms. Anjali Mandotra, the Associate Vice President, Human Resources at YAAP. She leads the company's people strategy, culture transformation, and organizational excellence. With a proven track record in building high performing, inclusive workplaces, Ms. Anjali brings dynamic leadership and a deep passion for empowering talent. An inspiring voice in the HR community, she was recognized as a BWHR 40 Under 40 Awardee 2023 and a GCC Women Leader Finalist 2025. At YAAP, focuses on talent development, diversity and inclusion, and innovative HR practices that drive creativity, collaboration, and growth. Welcome you, ma'am.
Finally, we have Ms. Aparajita Sinha, AVP HR, Client Servicing and Operations, who heads HR, Client Servicing and Operations at Naukri Gulf, the international division of InfoEdge. With over 2 decades of leadership experience, she drives growth through people-centric strategies and technology adoption. Ms. Sinha brings deep expertise in client success, sales enablement, and HR technology, offering a broad perspective on evolving trends across the GCC region. Passionate about building high-performing teams and enhancing recruiter capability, she champions digital transformation within the recruitment ecosystem. A trusted business leader, she successfully aligns people, processes, and platforms to deliver impactful hiring outcomes. We welcome you, ma'am.
Guiding today's discussion is Professor Sumit Gupta, a professor in information technology systems at IIM Raipur. He received PhD as well as MBA from National University of Singapore and BE from GEC Raipur. He has a total of 18 years of work experience in industry, teaching and research, during which he worked with L&T India, the Logistics Institute Asia Pacific, Singapore and SSGI Bhilai before joining IIM Raipur. He participated in Global Colloquium at Harvard Business School in 2015. He has been accredited by AIMA as an accredited management teacher and was awarded Professor Manubhai M. Shah Memorial Award by Indian Commerce Association for the year 2017. He has conducted several consultancy projects with both private and government bodies in India and abroad and has conducted many training programs. Thank you for joining us, sir. I would like to invite Professor Sumit Gupta to welcome our guests with a bouquet. Sri Durga Prasanna Nayak.
Ms. Ruchika Godha.
Sri Marcel Fernandez.
Ms. Manvi Pathak.
Ms. Anjali Mandotra.
Ms. Aparajita Sinha.
I would now like to invite our respected faculty, Professor Mohit Goswami, to welcome our gracious moderator, Professor Sumit Gupta, with a bouquet.
Let's now dive into our final panel discussion of the day, talent management in the age of AI and automation. Professor Sumit Gupta, over to you.
Thank you. Welcome all the panelists here. It's a great opportunity to hear from you how AI is changing shape in the field of talent management. So I shared some questions with you. We have limited time, 1 hour, but that doesn't limit you from sharing your views. Please share with your full heart and do not worry about time. I will reduce questions if required. Okay. So first thing we would want to understand, see as a professor, I also face this dilemma when I'm dealing with students. Many of them actually, we teach using cases. They put case in ChatGPT, get the summary and then come in the class. And I've told them many times that AI does not actually enhance talent, it enhances mediocrity. Because once you do that, you cannot be actually a talented person. You will just be able to speak something for the sake of getting some brownie points, but you cannot excel. So here is something which is AI is affecting our industry. I will request you to share your views, how AI is affecting your industry in terms of talent, how much it's shaping the talent, or it's reducing the talent in whatever way you share. So we'll start with ma'am first, Anjali ma'am, right?
Hello, good evening, everybody. So, I'll disagree in a way with what Sir said. So, what I believe is when technology that is linked with human aspect, it always gives amazing results. So, I mean, we are the creator of technology, and technology is for us, we are not for technology. What I believe is AI, HR professionals with AI will obviously replace HR professionals without the knowledge of AI, which does not mean that AI is going to take away all our jobs. But what we have to focus is we cannot leave out the human element in any of the jobs, be it marketing, be it finance, be it HR. So I believe it's not eroding our industry, or it's not, doing away with a lot of aspects of the humanity. But what I believe is we really need to understand and delve into the knowledge how we can use technology to actually prosper in our careers, as well as take the organizations to zenith of success. That's what I believe.
Thank you. Ruchika ma'am, your views?
Thank you. Both AI and talent management very close to my heart, because running a technology company and managing HR, this is something the debate kind of, goes on and on. And like we were discussing over lunch, AI, and I would agree with Anjali as well, is definitely not something that would make you mediocre. But if you are mediocre and if you're not using AI right, you are not even going to stand a chance anywhere in the world. So what I see AI as is, it is a great, great enabler, but even to use it properly, you have to have that intelligence, you have to have that understanding of what you're going to achieve through AI. Because it is vast. I mean, if you're just using ChatGPT to write an email or prepare for your next project without even understanding what it is for, it is definitely not going to make you stand out. But then if you have done your research, if you have really understood what you're using the AI for, and if you're able to explain to the stakeholders how it is going to impact the world, then the world is yours. So one of the interesting things that I would like to share about is, like, these days when we are interviewing, we've stopped asking people to kind of, come prepared with coding skills or with any particular skills. Open the chat GPTs or the AIs and we tell them, okay, now go help yourselves and just come prepared with what would you ask to get the result that we want. So I would definitely say that AI is definitely an enabler. It makes you smarter, but if you don't use it smartly, you will end up being mediocre.
Yeah, thank you. Durga sir?
A very good afternoon to you all. Yes, I think I couldn't have agreed for more. But let me just quickly share a couple of applications of AI, especially in the healthcare industry. I'm from Aster DM Healthcare, and we are in the business of managing healthcare, running multi-speciality healthcare chains. So how have things changed? So I think it's important for us to understand that the core objectives will always continue to stay. Only the approaches to them have differed and will continue to pivot with time. But there was always a need. If you look at a business, there was always a need for healthcare, there was already a need for care, there was already a need for good clinical outcomes, and that's always going to stay. For example, the role of clinicians, and there are a few areas where we already have interface with AI in terms of clinical outcomes, be it diagnostics, pathology services, radiation services, precision medicine. Today, application of AI has been to such an extent that it can read reports faster, there were more accuracy, and it helps the clinician to have more judgments, right? Typically, a human being, it's impossible to find out those anomalies when you read reports and do those imaging and diagnostics. But with AI today, a doctor's pivoting skills is more into judgment, decision making, patient counseling, and reading between those lines, which was previously missing, which was largely into diagnostics. Another very practical usage of AI today in human resource and some of the allied areas like operations and all. Today we have a far more predictable outcome. Like just imagine there is a viral outbreak and the kind of seasonal surge or the flux in occupancy the hospital is going to undergo. Today you have, let's say, 45% occupancy, and tomorrow or the next week you have a 72% occupancy. We've seen COVID as a classical example for that matter. So how do you predict more staffing models? How do you have more predictive models built around rostering, having the right talent servicing? How do you have more staffs adequately manned to have the best of surgical outcomes, clinical outcomes? It's a practical scenario. Today, when we do our annual budgeting and staffing and manforce planning exercise, we have all the historical data and using this AI tools to precision to predict what my outcomes are going like. This is a classical example. Another small example, utilization of AI in call centers, front offices who are typically scheduling appointments. So today we have some of these chatbots, AI-powered tools that's doing this with far more precision. And some of these resources who are deployed are actually digital patient experience resources. Their job is not just to schedule appointments and cancel appointments. You have far more prediction. You know what's going to happen tomorrow based on some of the past algorithms built into it. So the role is largely shifting. In all the three scenarios, if you look at it, the core and the essence of delivering value to all partners in the healthcare ecosystem remains. But with the use of technology and AI powers of some of these tools, we have much better, we have far more outcomes which are satisfying to all stakeholders of the ecosystem. These are live 3 business cases. And I think, yes, it's all in current times. It's an enabler, but yes, it's an artificial tool. So it needs human judgment, empathy, decision, and more importantly, creativity to relate to context is what matters.
Thank you, Durga ji. Aparajita ma'am.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So, no doubt, I fully agree with my fellow panelists. So, AI in today's world, I'll give you some very live examples that InfoEdge is doing. So, InfoEdge, for everybody's reference, we have their flagship company is Naukri.com, which I humbly would say is the #1 recruitment portal in India. Now, what we are doing internally, we are out and out into IT, and we know what AI can do for us. Now, there are things like, we have a CV database, wherein earlier the recruiters were going into the database, searching out CVs on their own, putting the skills, and then kind of pulling out CVs. A simple work was taking 1 hour, for a simple position. These days, it takes hardly 10 minutes to pull out CVs for 2-3 positions because there's AI recommendations happening, which we call as AI Rex, AI Rest Rex. Similarly, when you advertise a job, it was taking so much of a time. You just put in a skill, you put in a position, and the AI builds the JD, the entire form gets built up, and you post a job. It's just a 1-minute thing that's happening. CVs are coming up. The core pain point of the HR, the key people who were into recruitment was how to scan through all those millions of resumes that have come in. Now AI there are smart AI recommendations that are there. You pull out CVs, share them with your line managers, and that's how. And that's how AI is helping. AI obviously is not replacing humans at all. AI is supporting and it's predicting, and that's how we are looking at it. And we are internally kind of out and out into trying to understand the entire team, the data science team, AI, everybody. So it's a big thing. We know it's a big thing, and don't be afraid is what I would say. It's here to support you. It's a friend. A friend who'd help you in need. Don't blindly trust it. Use your intelligence. Human intelligence is far. AI in which ways is learning. So do understand that your intelligence is much higher than what AI can do. Yes, keep guiding it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Marcel.
Yeah. So I think emergence of AI is the most significant uh, event in the human civilization. I tell you why. The statistics was always there. Okay? The field of statistics was always there. Data was always. What happened? Two things happened. One is the advent of semiconductors, the ability of chips to process faster, more intelligently. You know, NVIDIA, right? First we had Qualcomm, we had Intel, then NVIDIA came. Second, the entire science of LLMs, development of LLMs and so forth and so on. Now, I come from automotive industry, and I'll tell you that AI is embedded in every part, right from our engineering to services. Why? Because of two, three things. If you talk about sustainability, how do I handle the carbon emissions and all? Okay, today the AI science helps me to go deep into the combustion chambers to study the combustion cycles, okay, to understand the phenomena of those nitrous oxide gases, and so forth and so on. So both combination of the instrumentation and AI is helping at least our industry to go deeper and deeper into engineering. The cars and the trucks are becoming smarter. They are becoming more safer because human life is a center of entire development. Then comes the manufacturing and the supply chain, where we look how do we meet customer requirements. You guys are from a generation where you require novelty, right? You change your mobile every 6 months. So how do I give a new car every six months, some new features? So how that is going to happen? So this entire artificial intelligence ecosystem is going to help us, at least in the automobile, to deliver it. And finally, understand one thing, that whatever we create, we have to recycle it. Okay, whatever products we create, we need to recycle it. So now the research which is going on is helping us to develop materials which can be recyclable, because we also have a responsibility towards Earth, towards Mother Earth. So all in all, Professor, thank you for intelligently framing that question. But AI really is the order of the day, and it's going to remain. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Professor Sumit. The question that was asked to the panelists is actually, if you see, it's a very broad question, that how is AI impacting the, and all the fellow panelists have answered it, and all of them are correct, because it is this question can be handled in different. All of them have given different perspectives. I'd like to talk. So I work with Samsung R&D. I head the learning and development there. So my organization has about 5,000 employees, and there are people from different generations. So there are people from if you're familiar with the Gen X, millennials, and the Gen Zs. So Gen X are people, people. I don't want to get into too many. But people who are just about 8 to 10% of the organization is Gen X. So they are people who have about 10 to 15 years of jobs, 10 to 12 years of their careers still left. And this AI has come. Now, what is happening for them? Of course, the work is changing. The skill sets required are changing. So what we are doing, at least for the senior most people, there's a lot of upskilling which is happening. So, what we had done is that in my organization, we get a mandate of at least 40 hours of training every employee has to go through, 40 to 45 hours in a year. This is a mandate we get from the headquarters. But we realized that even this 40 hours was very difficult to meet for the senior leadership. So now AI is definitely a need, and what we are seeing is that the senior leaders are coming up on their own, self-learning, classroom learning. So that is something which is happening because they know that they cannot function for the next 10 to 12 years of their careers without knowing AI. That is definitely happening. Then there is the people in the mid and the younger generation. So the younger generation people we usually hire from the engineering campuses. We have our own selection process. But one thing that we as HR professionals are looking at is people should have a very growth mindset. You should be ready to learn, unlearn, because it's going to be, the world is going to change. Every few years, you're going to, see new requirements. And this is the most important thing. In fact, when you go for jobs, you will see companies asking this question. This is going to become extremely, extremely important. That what is the skill? Because maybe, certain skills, academic skills, technical skills will fetch you a job. But for long-term careers, it's very important to have that kind of a growth mindset. And where, I'll talk about HR because, this is the HR summit. I'll talk about the jobs. Definitely the competencies and the jobs is going to get impacted. Like, for example, I'll tell you, in L&D, there's a lot of, we hire people who can do content development, who can develop training programs. Now, all that is being done quickly by AI. One program content which used to take weeks, 2 to 3 weeks to get ready, to deliver, it just is taking about an hour to get ready. So what do we do? These are the competencies which are going to change and with the impact of AI. So the job description that is going to come up is completely. So what I see is that, all these things are going to change. It's too premature to exactly come out, but we see a lot of change. And you as students, as a student community, I think you should be in a state of readiness to learn things quickly and discard things which are not working for you and then move on. So that's going to be important.
So thank you, panelists. Actually, from the panel which I could gather, I mean, of course, there were some diversity of views, diverse views on the topic. What I could gather is that talent is actually shifting. In one sense, to even run AI, you need talent. You need talent to ask the right questions. Okay, and many times I feel in the class that many times I have used AI, and after using AI, I asked this, reflect in this, did I do the right thing? Was it the right question I'm asking, or just trying to make things very fast and easy? Because if I do not ask the right questions, I do not get the right answers. So sometimes we do have, and with students we do have this, we want them to learn AI because that's the demand of the industry. But you also feel sometimes कि कुछ दिमाग नहीं लगाया, AI use करके आ गया, है ना? So do you have such moments? And just a different question: do you have ever such moment you feel that our employees कुछ भी दिमाग नहीं लगाया और AI use करके आ गया, कुछ थोड़ा दिमाग तो लगाता? So those kind of things. I will just take very short answers from the panel. Yeah.
So I have one such incident wherein, like somebody mentioned in the panel also, we use AI to screen the CVs. So one of my team members, what he did was he used the AI to make this particular screening tool. But what we noticed at the end of a couple of months, while we were already, at the time of hiring somebody, that while the screening was being done, the AI tool was skipping, or it was screening out the CVs of those people who had experiences from various industries, and which would have been an add-on. I mean, it was leaving out people who were from IT or who were from manufacturing. It was only picking up people from advertising, because he would have not put that, that particular prompt. So while using AI also, we really have to use our brains. Otherwise, it is going to give results, but results of what we have inputted. So there are chances of human errors because what we input is the output that we are going to get. So obviously, these are the limitations, but yeah, such a thing has happened.
Of times. Even simple things like drafting an email or sending a memo to a employee, people just use ChatGPT and just copy paste it. And not just copy paste it, they don't even realize कि जो dashes ChatGPT से आते हैं, they are like very obvious that it is from ChatGPT. So it happens a lot of time. But then again, like the same thing we used to face with processes as well. You know, we have SOPs, we have checklists. People would many a times just follow it with blinkers and they won't even question that, okay, how or what not or what to do. So whether it is AI, whether it is SOPs or checklists, that human intervention and that ability to question. So one of the things I would want to add to the previous discussion as well is that now the role from doer has changed to the role of maybe a supervisor or a validator. That even if you're getting AI to do your job, you have to validate, you have to see the correctness, you have to understand, okay, what we are giving is the output or not.
Many such relevant examples. One common example Sujash mentioned is just copy paste the text and then generate an output without even thinking it relates to context or the conversation that has preceded that. It's a very common example, and I think now everybody seems to be outsmarting you. So when we assign something, we say, "Arey, he didn't know even the basics of talent management, and he's built an entire framework." And now everybody seems to be superseding expectations, especially during appraisals, during discussions of ratings and all. People seem to be all superlative in terms of the outcomes and all. One small example is we do this stay interviews for leadership. I was just assigned somebody design a questionnaire that relates to the stay anchors. Basically, we have something called as the SCARF model. So I mean, not contextualizing the tenure the leader has spent in the organization, either 0 to 1 year, or is somebody who's left legacy in the organization, or somebody who is striving for growth in the mid-level manager position. So I think those contextual decision, factors into the design model were largely missing. I can't ask the same set of questions for the stake and interview or a leadership anchor conversation with a leader who's been a legacy in the organization to somebody who's just a novice who's trying to make his mark inside the organization, who is a probationer for that instance. So many such instances, but I think I completely agree with your first statement. I mean, with students out here, do think human being is far more capable, and this intelligence we are talking about is artificial. It has been to be an enabler, but yes, it does mask human capabilities and thinking. So I think not at the first go, but yes, use it very, very judiciously to augment outcomes. So it's volume versus value. Rightly said, it is to supervise things, but yes, do not miss the essence of creating value through this enabling tool.
Thank you. I appreciate.
I very much agree. I've seen a lot of bloopers, mails, standardized mails, similar mails coming from internal, outward mails, whatever. So all those sound, look and feel and everything, the icons, the dashes, they seem, you know immediately. Somebody who's been using it, you know it. It's not a copy, it's not the real version, it's a copied version. So use it intelligently is what I would say. The kind of prompts that you put, that has to be very, very, so the way you kind of, I'm sure as students, you're much smarter, but you will, over a period of time, you'll realize that though it's called an artificial intelligence, ultimately it's very dumb. You will have to kind of guide it, outsmart it, read through the content, challenge the content a lot of times. You'll have to tell it that, probably this is not what I was expecting. This was the answer that you've given me has slightly deviated towards this or deviated towards that. So those kind of intelligence has to be provided, and then that AI or artificial intelligence is going to help you. So don't just copy and paste is what I would say.
Thank you.
So I have some couple of instances. We sponsor higher education. Normally, in a MTech program, you are required to write a thesis. So the assessment where I have been as an internal assessor, I have found they are smart in using ChatGPT. Okay. So I had to really take help of a counter software to find out from where they have got it. So these things are common. But coming to a very important point, today I find a lot of even leaders also that, look, if you have to give a speech or if you have to talk, it is better to speak from your heart rather than going, taking help of Copilot or Perplexity AI or something and taking that and reading. Because the audience there is also intelligent. They know that all this time you have been not good at speaking English and now suddenly you are using those words. So so you have to be very careful. So I agree to the panelist. The key here is we as humans, we have to see that how effectively we use, where we don't use AI. Okay, this responsibility each one of us need to develop.
Very interesting points by my fellow panelists. And in fact, just wanted to add a thing humorous is that I was attending a event and one of the HR leaders said that after ChatGPT, one thing good that has happened is the quality of resignation letters has improved. So the resignation letters have less mistakes now. So yeah, so that is there. But what is interesting is that as students, again, I'd like to say that you need to, with ChatGPT, of course, things are very easy, but your work is under scrutiny. I'll just give you an example. We hire in my organization, we hire management trainees from B schools. And this time I could see that the people who were the project guides, they were like more interested in seeing ki kitna ChatGPT se uta raha hai. Okay, how much this person and how much is the genuine work. So that was also a lens that was there. So I'm just trying to tell you that your work is going to be under too much of scrutiny. If you just mindlessly, see, ChatGPT definitely people use to reduce the operational work. That's what most people have said. But where your own talent, there's a likelihood of showing that, please use that. Something that Marshall was saying, that something that can be your own, unique to you. So don't mindlessly use it, but because the person who's evaluating you also knows that this can come from chat.
So thank you for your nice views. Now a related question which comes to my mind, and I also shared in all of you, is that you see, you will have different generations of people. Somebody who is already expert at his job, he can evaluate what ChatGPT is. There are also middle level people who are who know something and who may not be quite expert. And there are also new joinees, the Gen Zs, they will be Gen Zs only. They are generally blind at using ChatGPT. Okay. Now what do you do with them? How do you upskill? Do you want to reskill them? What is your modus operandi with different levels? How do you deal with different levels of people in an organization so that they use the AI properly, not just mindlessly?
So what I believe is Indian workforce today, it comprises of a lot of generations, and right now is the time when we also have baby boomers, we have Gen X, we have Gen Zs, then we have millennials as well. So I believe one leadership style fits all doesn't work anymore, because we have very, very opinionated employees, very opinionated just like you people are. But that does not stop us in devising various leadership skills. And for that, what I have suggested and what we do at YAP currently, because the normal age group of the employees is between 27 to 35. Fairly young people. And the Gen Zs, they keep entering every now and then. So what we do is cross-functional and cross-departmental and cross-generational mentorship, wherein the young people, they mentor the seniors to use various social media platforms, to use various tools like ChatGPT. Obviously, they are doing harm to themselves, because then the seniors would know half of their work is copied from ChatGPT. But then, that's what happens in cross-functional mentorship. And then secondly, the senior leadership, they can teach the traditional leadership styles to these youngsters so that they also understand what it has been for them to work in the corporate sector for so many years and why they behave in a certain way that they do. So I believe one is this. Second, to actually, inculcate a culture of belongingness for all these generations together. What we do is we have various hybrid channels of communication, like we do town halls, we have Slack, we have WhatsApp. So I mean, particular generations might have had issues in communicating through town halls. I mean, traditional senior leadership, they are not very comfortable doing an informal kind of a conversation, but now they are changing with times because that is what can keep them up to date and to make them actually get the work done from Gen Zs and the latest generations. So, a couple of these tools and then we go a long way. That's what we do at our organization.
So luckily or unluckily, it was like Project Server, and we get to now AI and everything is on cloud. So we have been lucky that way that the older group that we have, they are kind of, always on their feet, learning and unlearning. So it has been very interesting because we see the generation who are very, very excited, even though they are older, so to speak, very excited to learn, experiment, adopt AI. Then there is the Gen Z who have kind of, who've born with mobiles in their hand and they know, so they take AI for granted. And then we have the middle layer who apparently never have time to explore anything new. So this is a very interesting challenge that we face. And so we have to devise strategies wherein we have different ways of teaching people or enabling them to learn things according to their roles or their kind of, seniority in the organization. So we have various programs wherein for the senior leadership, what are their requirements from AI? So it would not, of course, be writing a code or looking at, it would be more about how to make sense of the data that you have. So we have a different program for that. And for the Gen Zs, it is more about making themselves more productive, more efficient. So these are some of the initiatives that we take, which we call Advance, which includes the top layer and the entire organization on how we can upskill and reskill. So it is a continuous exercise for us.
Thank you.
So healthcare for us, there is at everything we do, it is all about care, continuum of care, and it's all about service delight. So it's all about patient care. At the heart of every patient care lies a personal touch. So our approach was very different. We identified roles and positions that needs an interface with technology. I spoke about some of them. I spoke about billing roles, roles like console, who are doing telecalling. Some of the clinical roles, for example, we do a lot of work with AI interface in our clinical sciences like neurology and all, right? We got a partnership with Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and a lot of advanced studies has been done where we have much more predictive outcomes, and we have physicists and medicine in the Department of Neurosciences. So senior clinicians, even though they're doctors, they're brands by themselves, even neurologists, neurophysicians, neurosurgeons, they came forward because there's a more predictive model and it was more about medicine that can have far more effective outcomes with reduced clinical errors. Just giving an example of how it touched the clinical interface. And we were fortunate to have our own learning academy, the Aster Health Academy, that runs programs around health informatics, AI in healthcare, data-driven decision-making, data scientists, analytics, how to do regulative models and things like that. So all those positions which had an interface with technology and which need to be pivoted, they are the ones who are identified, trained, and we also lucky to have one business model that has a complete alignment with technology. That's the Aster Digital Health, where we have an interface with people who come to the hospital by virtue of the digital apps, where the continuum of care is through some of those AI-enabled bots, especially streams like diabetology, and those kind of thyroid and some of those neuromedicines which needs continuity of care with far more nudges and predictive time-to-time reminders. And one thing about senior leadership, very, very important, we have a very successful program, reverse mentoring. I'm sure all of you would have heard about mentoring and coaching as a process. But reverse mentoring is something not too many organizations have done it. So when we partner some of those senior leaders, there's some competencies you cannot just, live without in current times. So those are the set of competencies, though we have a very clear definition of functional, behavioral, and core competencies. Those common leadership competencies that cuts across the entire leadership, the top management of the organization, they're all paired with young talent, budding talent like you, who bring a lot of expertise, who are all digital natives, familiar with current times of technology and its usage. They are paired to this reverse mentoring. And this is largely a culture where the leader feels empowered to learn, and he's very, very inquisitive in this learning journey. So just a few, some of those insights that's really working well. And we are working on more and more such interventions, looking at the criticality of the roles. And it's just not left to some algorithm and Excel sheets that decides the rejig in the organization.
So actually, this is a very, very, I would say, a very burning question within the organizations also. So when this AI wave came in, it took all of us by surprise. And everybody had the same question in mind. So will I have my job, or this would be taken over? I mean, what will happen exactly? So the only answer, at InfoEdge, we do not believe in kind of firing people at all. Even in COVID times, we had all the people retained. So what we did was internally, there was a shift happening from one department to the other. There was upskilling happening. There was a lot of reskilling happening. A lot of departments were aligned to the data science AI team. So yes, it does happen, and this is an uncomfortable question. But I would say this unsettling should happen from time to time. And that's how we learn, that's why we learn. So, from mobile, we had that older style mobile. From then, we shifted to smarter phones. Now, smarter phones have become even more smarter with ChatGPT, Copilot, everything right there. You just need to type and you get the answer. So we've been unconsciously, if you realize, do not realize, we've been unconsciously learning. The environmental changes affects us, and we end up learning, just that you have to kind of consciously make an effort to learn. So that's the message we give internally to our teams. That this change is for real, and this is a good change. And this, this was to happen, and this will affect us in a very big way in the coming days. That's what we predict internally. It's really going to affect us in a very big way. But yes, we need to be ready. That's the message.
So I think you guys knows that Tata Motors is a legacy organization. So we have different generations, okay? So there is always a challenge. It is not that if you do anything, this challenge is going to go away. But a good part is this company has the capability discussion at the board level. So every year, the risk assessment is done. The board does the risk assessment. And 4 years back, we started the journey. Otherwise, you wouldn't have seen the electric cars, what you have. We look 5 years ahead of what technologies are coming. We start preparing the people. But the challenge is immense, let me tell you, because we have one set of generations who are purely mechanical engineers. Okay? 98% of our engineers came from mechanical background or non-electrical electronics background. So electrification wave came. What do? Do we ask them to go home? No. So we started a mass reskilling program. Okay, similar, in the electrification. Similarly, even for digital, in the digital space, we have started. Now, as ma'am was saying, that it is very structured. We don't want to make people expert in AI, ML. We have certain job roles where we have identified, and only those engineers whose mathematics is very good, they are put to a master's or a doctoral program, because you require good sound understanding of mathematics if you are going to go into deep learning. Number one. Number two is, we are also taking talent from outside. Now the challenge for an automobile industry is that you require domain experience. Without domain experience, AI is of no use. Understand that. Just because you are good in AI ML, you are not going to give anything. You require domain experience, that means in the field, to understand engineering, and AI is applied over there. So yes, at Tata Motors, what we have done, we have a number of programs. We have made the LMS democratic. Anybody can learn anytime. We have tied up with all the course providers. It is free for people to learn. And those who, see, ultimately, it is up to the employees to learn. Those who are early adopters, those who want to learn, those who want to reskill, they will do it. And those who are not very comfortable of doing e-learning, we have classroom kind of a contact, because we have to appreciate that not everybody has a temperament like your generation to learn online. There are certain people who are extremely uncomfortable when it comes to e-learning. So we put them in a classroom where there is a lot of interactions. At times, it is very difficult for the faculty to start from very basics. So these things are there. So in a nutshell, these challenges is going to be there. And I think the next 5 to 10 years, we'll find that slowly this gap will, narrow down.
Thank you. So, very similar to Tata Motors, Samsung also, legacy organization, and in very similar, very strong learning culture in Samsung. So learning is a the continuous learning is a very, very strong part of Samsung. We also have different programs, LMS, we have higher education where we sponsor MTech and PhD. Then we have learning programs, online learning modules. We also have reverse mentoring, which Durga spoke about. So, there are different ways in which we are looking at skilling and upskilling. And as I already mentioned that, different generations of people we have, and somewhere the onus is on the learner, the person who is there. The person has to take ownership of learning. And one of the things that I would like to share an example. One of the senior leaders in my organization, he's in his 50s, and what he said, he said that he shared this example to a larger audience. He says that I tell the people in my team that whatever AI, digital, I'll always know more than you. He said that I publicly challenge my team, and then it is on me to, match up and do the catch up. So he said that, this is something I do, and that puts pressure on me. So, different ways, different people have different ways of, pushing themselves to learn. And I think this was something, very interesting. So people have to, so the onus is on the learner now, entirely. Yeah.
Then that brings us to the issue of, technology is perceived as leveler, but it also brings differentiation among people. In olden days, when you had some employee who had a lot of knowledge, he would have some power, some cognitive power over others. Now technology comes as a leveler, then that power goes away, they feel threatened. So these things we'll find. So it also brings what you call as change management. Technology will bring change management issues. Like many of you mentioned that some employees who are actually willing to learn, they will learn. Some who are not willing to learn, they will not learn. Again, then the change management. Some people will feel threatened by AI. Somebody will feel empowered by AI. So how do you deal with those change management issues coming through AI? Or do you face such issues? Because if it is a legacy organization, I'm sure some such issues will come. May not be for the new gen. So just want to have your views.
So I believe anything which is, so whenever there is change which is inevitable, just like technology, that needs to be embedded in the culture of an organization. So what we at Gap we do is, like Pam said, in Samsung also they have some 40 hours of training which is mandatory. So what we do, so that nobody's left behind on the technological forefront, is that we have some $100 assigned per employee, wherein an individual can choose whatever training he or she wants to do in one calendar year. Now, this is not only to, leverage any particular employee. This is for everybody standardized so that everybody can consider them a part of this change. Change management process that needs to be embedded in the culture of an organization. We need to keep talking about it. It doesn't have to be a one single shot that it is said just once in one town hall, quarterly, or maybe half yearly, and done. No, not done. Change management does not have to be only technologically driven, but it also needs to follow the approach of top down and bottom up. Everybody needs to talk about the changes. Changes cannot be just percolated and said from the top management that this is what we expect you to start doing and please do that, because the current generation is not going to do it. They have their own set of questions. An organization is meant to have answers for that. So in order to manage these changes and have a cordial environment which is work friendly, it is definitely required that these changes needs to be embedded in the culture of an organization, and that every employee benefits from this change rather than the change only benefiting certain level and not percolating down to the base level. This is what we do at YAP.
True, and managing change, and more so in these times, is an imperative. I mean, you just have to do that. And one thing that, AI being a threat or people perceiving it as a threat and then managing that change, the moment ChatGPT launched, we had a town hall. And the one message that our CEO gave to our team members was, yes, you are at a risk of losing your job, not because of AI, but because if you do not learn AI, you are going to be redundant. So that is how we started our change management into how to use how to use AI to the benefit of everybody. So yes, at Advaya, I would definitely like to say that we have really enforced using AI. Many of our people have been provided Copilot licenses. We are, in fact, we've just last week, we have launched a hackathon on how to use AI during the entire process of the business life cycle. So these are some of the initiatives we are taking. We have a structured program called Continuous Professional Education, wherein we provide credits which kind of, add on to their appraisals every year, which kind of literally forces them to learn even if they don't want to learn, because then everybody wants a good increment, right? So these are some of the initiatives we have taken to ensure that whatever technology comes in, whatever AI or the next gen even comes in, we are ready for that change and always, in fact, ahead of the technology.
So the approach, I think, largely remains similar. It's got to find out why we are changing and communicating the need for change. That remains very, very important. I think the healthcare organization, as I said, it's a very people-intensive, and it's got a large human interface with all your process and service delivery, touch points. There's a human at the end of it. So for the organization like us, we did a technology fit diagnostic survey, largely getting people to respond the as-is use and penetration of technology in all our processes. Where do we stand today and what could be better? So those results were largely shared with the larger population in terms of where do we stand and what needs to improve. And when people genuinely see that there's a need for change, they will themselves be advocates of change. So we had that small cohorts. I'm talking of this change management process. How did it relay on ground, and how did it translate it to success? When you have small champions at each of those cohorts, among nurses, paramedics, around the clinicians, enablers, small change champions, and then we have this AI ambassadors who've been actually been using AI and talking about the differences it's made across the value it added to the different stakeholders. Once people get to see the larger ecosystem that changes for better, we drove a campaign. I mean, two very profound campaigns, I would say. One was volume to value. So whether you want to handle volume or you want to add value to stakeholders in the process, transforming for better. So this is, every individual resists change. Nobody wants to go out of the comfort zone. But there was a very strong message across the organization that success and comfort will not coexist. Okay? If you have to have success, you have to really come out of your comfort zones and deliver for better. And there were other campaigns which we did during COVID times. It was skill to scale. Like largely how upskilling, rescaling, and adopting technology can help you drive scale and add more value to the stakeholders. So these are some of the processes that helped us pivot through this change, but I would definitely say that change management is a process. It's a process in the making towards excellence. It's not an overnight process. So organizations will have to stay invested in terms of its agility and learning quotient of driving value to all its stakeholders.
See, when this dramatic shift happened, and it affected the organizations, at the organization level, up to the ground level, to the everybody, so we all felt change, and how the leaders handle it at the top, the CXOs. We had a lot of brown bag sessions internally. We had hackathons. So all of that, so people mentally, they kind of started getting adapted to the idea of using AI for each of the projects that they were doing, using it for the work that they were doing. We had certain projects lined up, list of projects circulated, depending on, the marketing team had their own set of projects. So we had an example wherein an entire visual, a marketing campaign was developed through an AI process. So all of those were examples. People were looking up to each other, to each department. There was a healthy competition happening, as in, asking each other, what is it that you're doing? So those kind of, it gets driven from the top. But then, yes, all of these, the vibes when come in and, gets adapted at the team level, there's entirely a different environment. So yes, obviously, I mean, it's that change is, I mean, reflects, I mean, happening at the top level up to the, up to the core employees. It's a big thing.
See, this change management or the advent of AI, it is a leadership responsibility how they handled it. And I think if they don't have an element of empathy, then there is, I think the leadership is at fault. First of all, what we have done is we have removed the fear of AI. Usually the general tendency is for people to create a fear among the people that they are going to lose jobs, they are going to lose. These things should not be there in a growing economy. Because understand, those people who work with you for 20, 30 years, at that point of time, they are the people who build these companies, this economy. So we at Tata's are very clear about it. We have various ways of how to bring them into the mainstream. For people who are slow in learning, we use a lot of graphics. We have different methodology by which we bring. And you'll be happy to know that my technicians on the shop floor are very good at AI today. A lot of these projects, a lot of work, entire supervision band we have removed. We have empowered them. So it is because I work very closely with the manufacturing and service, I can tell you that it is only a matter how you handle them. They are intelligent. It is how you train them and how you deploy them, how you believe in them. And those people are the people who will really, meet the objectives. What are your business objectives?
Yeah, so I agree that this has to be top-driven, and there has to be a lot of communication. And I also agree with Marcel that the fear has to be removed through a lot of communication. And in my organization, like if you see, we have about 17 teams, R&D teams, and some of these teams, they actively use AI as a part of their work, day-to-day work. And these teams, when they do a good job, they are actually recognized in our quarterly. So then that excitement builds up of using AI. And not only that, the work that they do is also gets presented to the larger organization. So people understand that there is no fear, and when you do good work, get recognized, and you actually end up, the output is much, much better. So that way it's more of recognition and communication that is important.
Thank you, panelists. Actually, from whatever we have discussed, the inspiration that is coming to me, that what we want in our students or what we want in the community, is people who can actually intelligently use AI to bring better output. Not that they are another version of some chat GPT who I need to train intelligently. So in this, with one last thing, if you can share some short message for our students, and then we'll open for maybe 5 minutes. Just some short.
So I believe there is only one message wherever I go in any of such forums. There is only one message which I would want to give all of you, which we got when we were students, is at the onset of your career, please do not consider any work as big or small. Try doing anything and everything that comes your way. Please don't be under the impression that since you have tag of a particular college, or maybe you can have a certain number of years of experience. Once you enter, again after an MBA, there are already a lot of people in a particular organization who are n number of years of experience, and then they see you with the eyes of the fact that they have put in more years, but since you have a tag of one particular college, so you maybe earn more financially, or you're given a sort of privilege. So just to ensure that there is a footing in any organization that you're working, please do not consider any work as big or small. Just try doing anything and everything so that you get hands-on experience of every possible thing in a couple of years, and then maybe you can choose your own boundaries and set your own boundaries at the workplace. That is it from my side. Thank you.
So many messages, but sir has asked us to be short, so so I'll pick up from what Ms. Durga said, that success and comfort don't go together. So if you really want to be successful, if you really want to achieve something, you have to get out of your comfort zone and be patient. I mean, I know this is the generation of instant gratification. You want everything yesterday, but then it doesn't happen like that. So be patient. If you have committed to join an organization, be with them for a few years, understand their culture, and then think of changing them or changing the organization. And of course, passion. Please, people, I mean, one thing that we really miss is the passion from the people ki, okay, this is my profession, this is my career, and I want to give my 100% to it. This is not just bread and butter, this is not just a pocket money that you're taking, but this is a career that you're building, and you're making an impact in the lives of so many people who would be associated. So please bring that passion on board wherever you go in your life.
We'll say a few things that's close to my heart. A lot of people interact, so I don't want to leave without the essence of those messages. One is be sincere, don't be serious, okay? And this is one value that has to stay with you for a lifetime. You'll all graduate into leadership, management professionals and things like that, but that will always help you. If you are sincere, you'll do everything right? But serious will lead to fatigue, and there is too much of discussion around wellness, work-life balance, rhythm and things like that. That's number one. Secondly, always advise youngsters like you, choose competence over compensation. There's a lot of students who just eye the compensation, and then at the source of it, you miss out good opportunities where you actually, I was talking about impact, passion and things like that. What's the CTC? And then that becomes the only source of deciding whether I'm going to opt for it or not opt for it. That's very, very critical. Keep it in mind. Third is choose a career and not a job. I'm sure all of you are management students. You will understand the difference, what is career and what is a job. So make that choice right at the source, right at the instance, so that when you look back, you have no regrets. And fundamentally, choosing a company, a lot of people ask, what kind of company do I choose? And a lot of people get fascinated by big names, right? So I personally believe there are three types of companies in this world. You can bucket them into companies that are good at product leadership. So your likes of Tesla, Microsoft, Google, they're on one cohort of companies. So if you have an inclination for ideas, join a technology company, right? But that ideas will prosper and bloom. There will be a lot of appetite for risk-taking, innovation, failure, and things like that. Second is the cohort of companies that are good at operational excellence. If you like processes, if you like SOPs, if you are somebody whose personality is to look into attention to details, you will do really well in those companies if you choose. And if you want me to name such companies, I mean all the logistic companies, the likes of McDonald's of the world, the likes of the Walmarts, retail chains, all those are cohort of companies that continuously strive towards operational excellence. Third is customer centricity. Companies that have got a flair for people, right? The likes of the Taj of the world, the Southwest Airlines, all those consulting companies that deeply value their clients. These are extremely focused on customer centricity. So keep these things in mind if you like innovation, ideas, or whether process excites you, or is it your flair and affiliation to connect with people. That should help you decide the kind of company you would like to choose from. That should help you, pivot in your career when you move ahead. So those things, and career building is a process by itself. It doesn't happen overnight. Don't chase certifications. A lot of people ask, and they have a list of long certifications to carry, that I've got 12 certifications in my 2 years. Ultimately, certifications will not get you job. The fundamentals are always here to say. As I said, the core objective remains the same, only the approaches have changed. So the age-old dictum of we hire for attitude and we train for skills, that's always going to stay, irrespective of AI or not AI. So yes, since we've been discussing about AI, on a closing note, let machines continue to optimize, but let's humanize. I would like to leave you all with that thought.
My final message to you guys would be, keep the passion alive for learning, guys. Keep it alive. Because that's where, be it your personal life, your professional life, AI is there. Don't be too dependent. Believe in yourself. Believe in your own intelligence. And I would say one last thing, that AI may be the best right now, AI may be the wave, but the human relationship that we have, the friends giving advice, you please keep it with you. Don't go to AI for that. I've seen a lot of people kind of depending on AI also for their personal interactions. Please don't do that. You have friends there. Interact with them. The empathy, the relationship, that can never be replaced with AI.
I think most of my co-panelists have said a lot of things. What I want to tell you is, all of you here have gone to a selection process and you have joined this institute, okay? You carry the hopes of your parents, understand that one thing. Your parents have invested money in you. You carry their hopes. You carry the hopes of the institute, and you carry the hopes of the nation. So it's very important that this is a management institute. So the first thing on your agenda has to be honesty, as my colleague said. Second is ethics. Very important. We are moving into a world which is becoming more and more dangerous. You need to know where to draw the line. And thirdly, understand one thing, there is no substitute for hard work. If you think everything is available on the net and all, it's a myth. The more you hard, you will succeed. And the responsibility is on each one of you. If after this education, you are not able to build a career, then the responsibility is on you, not on the institute and not on the parents.
A lot has already been told, and I resonate with a lot of them. So, I'd like to answer this question as a L&D professional. I think, be curious. There's a difference between FOMO and curiosity. Okay, FOMO is mostly, curiosity is you're intrinsically driven to learn. Curious, just like a child, interested in knowing. FOMO is, fear of missing out, that is driven more by insecurity, and so that should not be there. Be curious, there is so much to learn, there is so much to explore, and I always feel that this is the best time to be in any field, whether it's HR or marketing or finance. It's the best time. Sometimes I feel that why am I not a student? Because there is so much to learn, so much to. So all the best.
Thank you, panelists, for a wonderful discussion. We are, I think, 4 minutes ahead of time, and some of our panelists have to go. So I think we'll close the panel rather than having any questions. Is that okay, or want me to invite one question? One done? Okay. Thank you very much, and One question we can take from anyone. Okay, please go ahead. That person with hands up. And you need to tell who you are asking the question to.
Yeah, good afternoon, all. So my question is: recently we've seen a lot of mass layoffs, especially recently one being TCS, having more than 10,000 people, and I feel the onus is on the companies as well, a little, to have responsible hiring. So because such layoffs do not just affect financially, but also the mental well-being of the laid off people. So I want to know what is your opinion on these layoffs and what can be done to improve such situations. It's a general question if anyone would like to take this on.
It because tech industry, totally the onus lies on the companies to hire, right? At the same time, at the end of it, it is business. Everybody is existing for profits. Everybody is existing to get the most out of what they have. While definitely do not condone the mass firing, but then trust me, hiring is again a very, very painful job. It is not only financially expensive, but even mentally exhausting. So when we have to take such decisions, it is very important for us to also align with what the vision of the company is going forward. So definitely agree that while companies are hiring, and I think that is happening also these days, people have become very, very picky when they are hiring people. They have these attributes, and like you said, they are hiring for attitude and aptitude and not for skills. So definitely, and I think a lot of corrective measures have started happening along those lines.
Okay, so thank you, panel. And we'll close the panel now. Thank you very much.
A heartfelt thank you to our distinguished panelists for sharing their invaluable insights on talent management in the age of AI and automation. Your perspectives have illuminated how organizations can effectively attract, develop, and retain talent in this era of rapid technological evolution. You've highlighted how balancing human potential with digital innovation is the key to driving agility, creativity, and long term success in the workplace of the future.
Depth of expertise and forward looking ideas shared today have been truly enlightening. From redefining skill development to fostering a culture of continuous learning, each panelist has offered meaningful perspectives on empowering people in an AI driven world. We are grateful for this thought provoking discussion that underscores the importance of putting people at the heart of technology. Now, I request our respected moderator to present a token of gratitude to our esteemed guests as a small gesture of appreciation from IIM Raipur for their valuable contribution. Shri Durga Prasanna Nayak.
Shika Godha.
Shri Marcel Fernandez.
Ms. Manvi Pathak.
Ms. Anjali Mandotra.
Ms. Aprajita Sinha.
I would now like to invite our respected faculty, Professor Mohit Goswami, to felicitate our gracious moderator, Professor Sumit Gupta, with a We request all panelists and moderator to gather for a photograph.
As we draw day one of our HR summit to a close, we reflect on the enriching conversation and thought provoking insights that have defined today's sessions. We began with Leadership Redefined, building agile, ethical, and human centered leaders, exploring how the business world today needs leaders who are not only agile and visionary, but also empathetic and grounded in strong values. The discussions emphasize that leadership is not a position of power, but a virtue driven responsibility that shapes the organizations of tomorrow. We then delved into leading with conscience, redefining corporate ethics for the modern workplace, where our panelists shared how modern leadership goes beyond delivering results. It's about leading responsibly. Conversation shed light on the importance of moral courage, accountability, and fostering safe spaces where ethical dissent is not allowed but encouraged.
Finally, we are wrapped up with our last discussion of the day on talent management in the age of AI and automation. This session brought forward valuable perspectives on how organizations can embrace technology without losing the human essence. Dialogue centered on reskilling, inclusivity, and how HR can drive the transition towards a tech-first yet people-centric workplace.
It's been an inspiring day filled with valuable insights and thought provoking conversations. Extend our heartfelt thanks to all our speakers and participants for their engaging contribution. Your perspectives and experiences have set the stage for what promises to be an exceptional summit.
As we prepare to continue tomorrow, we encourage you to reflect on today's learnings and think about how you can apply these insights into your leadership journey.
Until then, wishing everyone a wonderful evening. Let's now move ahead for a high tea.
Thank you, everyone, and see you bright and early tomorrow.